7-1, maybe we get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tejinder Singh. Everybody calls me TJ. I'm one of the board members for Friends of Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge. This webinar is part of our Seek the Refuge series, where we have excellent presenters from our neighboring areas or fields of interest. Today we have Vicki Rae Harder and her team who have joined us from Earth Heart Farms. So we'll start the session shortly. Vicky, I'll let you kick off the program. And as you are going through the presentation, I will post a couple of links which tell, anybody who's new to Friends group, we'll just give them some information on the Friends group. And then I'll post a link of the upcoming webinars and sessions and events that are planned for the next few months. And then lastly, we have an innovation fund. We recently set up a webcam at our Cedar Point National Wildlife Refuge. People can watch that from home. So, if anybody is interested to donate, we appreciate everybody's support for the refuge. All right, Vicky, turning it over to you. If you can just do a quick introduction, talk about the session today. And then I think I request everybody to be on mute. We'll take the Q&A at the end of the session once Vicki, Janet, Sara, Kevin have gone through the slides.
Sara, you want to share your screen?
Yep.
Sure. Okay, let me put it on slideshow. There we go. Okay.
Looks excellent. Yeah, thank you.
Excellent. Well, I thank you for coming tonight. I am very excited to be promoting our third year of this STEAM program this year. And I'm just so honored to be the steward of Earth Heart Farms and to have this team of experts from University of Toledo who like to play with me. So it's been a real journey. Next. And I want to especially thank the Friends of the Refuge for giving us an opportunity to present our work. And of course, without the NOAA BWET funding, this project wouldn't be happening currently and next year.
We are honored. Thank you so much.
One of the things, our main goal here tonight is to let teachers know, and if you're not a teacher, if you're attending, but you know a school system, we really hope you'll share this information with your area schools. Our summer PD for year 3 will be June 10th, 11th, and 12th, and we encourage people to sign up. There's no obligation, there's no money up front. We just have to select only 15 teachers every year. And so if you're interested, we want you to be in the queue for consideration. And once you do sign up, there is a $100 fee once you're accepted, but that comes right back to you in the form of lunches during the PD and supplies for the PD for the school year and ongoing support as far as virtual training throughout the school year.
Right, and I kind of want to point out that we put that QR code there so those who are savvy enough can use their camera and take the picture and it'll take you right to that. But if you're not comfortable with that, you can type in this link right here and that takes you right to our flyer here, which gives you photos of some of the activities that we do with hydrosphere, atmosphere. We incorporate some arts. We have a lot of fun. It's awesome. And we do some pedosphere, some soil stuff. So there we go. Okay.
In the big picture, this is a former family farm, my family farm, that has been in conservation now for 31 years. I wanted to do a STEAM program to enhance the research and educational work that was already going on there with BSBO and Green Creek Wildlife Society and some of the other nonprofits in the area. I was very fortunate to meet Dr. C. Kevin down there through a colleague, and what they say the rest is history. So here we are with helping students learn about science, stewardship, and their impact through science and through data collection and artistic expression, which we feel is very important because students have such different learning styles. So that's that. There'll be more information on that later. Again, 80 acres on the headwaters of the Lake Erie Basin in Salem Township. That was converted to conservation in 1992. And this is the location. This is an aerial view of what it looks like now. It was a grassland before that. So the whole grid was just green with grasses, but we do have 20.5 acres of wetland now, 5 1/3 acres of riparian buffer off to the side where you kind of see those streaks. There's 2,600 native trees and shrubs planted there. Be very interesting to see what comes up in the spring after this past year. Because it was a really difficult year for planting things between the drought and then the tornado and then the rains. But we're going to have our PD at the residence again this year. Okay.
Yep. Oh, okay. So this is what I'm going to try to see if I can get this to work. Give me a moment here. Got to move my Zoom around. So this is such a cool website. If y'all haven't heard of this, this is called River Runner website. And you can drop a drop of water anywhere and see the path that it takes. So you see it's loading here. So I already have it preloaded for Earth Heart Farms. And you can see that a water drop from Earth Heart Farms takes this path down through the area into Lake Erie. So it really gives you that feeling of runoff from the area can go into there. And that's one of our main focus is talking about nutrient runoff and the effects of harmful algal blooms in Lake Erie. So I won't let it play all the way because it'll go all the way to the St. Lawrence River, but you can see it there. Let me go back to our presentation. Okay, let me go back to slideshow. Okay, go ahead, Vicki.
Okay, very quickly. Said before that I'm the 4th generation. My great-grandparents homesteaded in the late 1800s. They built, you can see the beautiful red barn on one of the lower photos. It was hand-hewn oak beams. It's been restored really beautifully by my family throughout the years. And they had 6 children that stayed on the farm for a while and then decided I'm out of here. But my grandparents came back. They came back to help at a very difficult time in the late 20s, early 30s. They had their 2 daughters, my mom and my aunt. Both were born on the farm and raised there. It's my mom in the blue visor at the bottom. She transitioned the farm, the family farm, in 1993 into conservation reserve program. And I believe that happened because when I was about 10 years old, hanging out with my grandfather, he was told me that day that he felt that humans took too much for themselves and didn't consider all of the other animals that depended on that land space for their survival. And he said, you know, if I could afford to do it, I'd give it all back. And that's very much in my heart and soul. I didn't know at the time what a profound statement that was, but the older I get, the more I see that really laid the groundwork for this work I'm doing today. And the work that my mother did, she was trying to find ways to keep the land from being developed, looked at farming options at first. And I think her foray into the bald eagle restoration program with Mark Shieldcastle was a turning point for her. She was part of that for all 10 years. I think her notes are the only ones still remaining. Black Swamp Bird Observatory was founded. My parents were founding members of that about 31 years ago. They were also founding members of Friends of McGee Marsh. And so that was, in my mind, somewhere she knew that was a way to give back and honor her father's wishes. Okay. So CRP helped restore the land into prime habitat for birding. We have been on the private lands tour for Biggest Week in American Birding most of the years. I don't know if, I know last year we were not, because it was just charred land after doing a controlled burn in the fall. But as you can see here, we monitor bluebird trails. There was a sedge wren habitat discovered, the bald eagle restoration program, monarch tagging. In our BioBlitz that BSBO did a year and a half ago, there were 4 notable sightings. One was the sedge wrens, and then the bolus spider and the swarthy skipper were the first sightings in Ottawa County. So that BioBlitz set a baseline for the kinds of species that are prevalent in a 30-year fallowed land. And we want to continue doing that work with the students and other groups to keep track of how our efforts at land restoration are improving biodiversity and resource quality. We got out of the grassland program. I made that decision when I became, Earth Heart Farms was the name that I gave it after my mom passed 3.5 years ago. Went into the CREP program with H2 Ohio support as well, just to try to enhance the habitat, see if we could further increase biodiversity. And there again, putting that riparian buffer, that to me too was in part, my grandfather was so upset when he had to take out a 7-acre woodland to increase his tillable land. And so that 5 acres of riparian buffer is in part giving that back to the land as well.
Wow. Awesome. Yep.
Yeah, and Vicki, I love seeing these schematics from the people who've actually done the work of digging out the land and creating these artificial wetlands here.
And I'll tell you, it's very close to what you see here is what it looks like. It's amazing to me. So
right. What's really cool is this island here, because it's isolated, and we've seen that already, that birds have been landing there and they don't really care about us, because if you're walking around here, they're kind of isolated from us, which is great.
Yep. So there again, I've talked about this, but there was the sedge breeding grounds was discovered in that area where the wetlands are now. So there was some changes made to the restoration, which I absolutely love, that a tiny little bird can move bulldozers. So that's why that's there. Oops, did it freeze?
Are you frozen, or you got it?
So the actual restoration began right after our first fall field days in October of 2022. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because it's self-explanatory, but that's what we needed to do. Some aerial spraying, controlled burn, mowing, stumps removed, and the land prep for the trees. And part of why I wanted to put this in is that before the burn, the picture before the burn is what our students saw on our very first field trip in October. They were there when the grassland was lush and there were, still flowers blooming. Woolly bear caterpillars came out. Kids were bringing up hands full of woolly bear caterpillars. Some of the students had never seen them before, much less held them. And when we did the burn, 80 acres was done in 2 hours. It was such an incredibly perfect day for a controlled burn. But down in the lower right corner, that charred earth is what the students who came out in the fall saw in the spring, in April. Completely different landscape, and about the only thing growing out there were wild onions. And so the look on their faces is exactly what I was hoping for, because they saw a completely different world. And some of the students came back again this past fall and got to see how much the grasses had rejuvenated from April to October. So it's a really, I love bringing people out for that reason. to see the changes. Okay.
Yeah, I think we saw some milkweed coming up too, along with the wild onion.
Then last June, these 13th, 14th, and 15th, we had year 2 summer PD at the residence. And so what's important about the summer PD is that the teachers get to do everything their students are going to do when they're at the farm. So that's about all I have to say about that at this time. However, about 3 hours after, we saw that the weather was gathering. We knew storms were coming. So everybody got out about 3:30. And 3 hours later, on June 15th, an F2 tornado, I watched the tornado come across the field, heard the debris hit the garage, and my father and I were in the house as the roof got torn off, and with no scratch. Dad and I and the cat, not a scratch. So we're going to have the PD at our residence, the newly constructed, rebuilt, restored, lovely residence again this June, but there'll be no tornado following. Right, Kevin? So I just wanted to show you that. Yeah, I just wanted to show you that, reconstruction started. It's actually much further along than this. It's all bricked in. The kitchen cabinets are going in next week. That's my father. He should be back in his restored house by his 90th birthday. So we're going to have a big party. And along with the house being restored, the excavation started just a few weeks after the tornado. We were really fortunate that there wasn't a lot of damage to the land, a lot of rafters, a lot of sheet metal, and other debris out in the field and in the woods on the property next to us. But construction went on without a hitch. And the reason I love this picture down of the cranes and the geese is that those 3 cranes survived the tornado. June 14th, I was out on the land, and one of those 3 cranes was a colt. It was about half that size. And when I went out, I don't know, a month or 6 weeks later and saw those same cranes, my heart just did a flip because they survived. So I'm going to turn it to Sara.
Right. Yeah. So our group we're called Globe Mission Earth. We work with something called the Globe program, and you can learn about that through globe.gov. And it is a worldwide program where students learn how to collect observations about their local environment using standardized protocols so that we collect good data and we share that data. So our Globe Mission Earth program, we have a nice website here where we have, we collect research projects from students using the data that they collect. We have partners across the US from the East Coast to the West Coast, including NASA Langley, Boston University, Tennessee State, and then all the way out to the West Coast, UC Berkeley. And it was just a magical configuration, I think, to partner with Vicki and get the students out on the land and get them collecting data, because you can collect all kinds of data on that property, right? So Globe is broken up into 4 spheres, so atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, and pedosphere. And so we have opportunities for the kids to collect data within each of those spheres. And here you can see we're doing some water analyses here. This is a turbidity tube, so the students are testing turbidity. And these kids were having tons of fun digging in the dirt and doing some soil analyses. And in the past, when we've had the students out, we've set up tents and had tables where they walk along through the land and they learn different things at each station. And we've had a station for hydrosphere next to the previous pond that was there. And our atmosphere station where we look at clouds and air temperature and surface temperature. Our land cover station, pedosphere. There was a tent where kids would learn about careers in STEM. Then we also had a wildlife station with some of the conservation partners and another birding station. So it was basically quite rustic, where the kids had to bring their own food and they had to wear protective clothing because it could be brutal out there, especially with the winds. So you can see here some of the photos of the kids learning some of the pedosphere protocols here. We would dig down and get cores of soil and then sieve them and look at the different fractions of soil. And here's another student using what we call a sky window and trying to determine the color of the blue sky and the visibility, and also trying to figure out what kinds of clouds we have. Here's another photo here of turbidity analysis. And you can see here some of the quotes from the kids, that the feedback that we received from them and what they thought about the experiences. So we got to shake bowls with soil in them and make the soil really thin, and we got to take pictures of the soil. That's kind of cool. We got to learn about the clouds, and that was fun. So there's another slide here with some more quotes from students. You can see here, this is a test for the different components of the soil. So the silt and sand and clay fraction. So take a ball of the soil and roll it up in their hands, and we'd spray it with water, and they'd try to figure out how much content of soil or sand, silt, and clay were in there. And then they also had what is that called? A clipboard, a clipboard, and they recorded their observations, including, you know, flowers and insects and all the other globe observations that we were doing. So in the process of doing this, they not only took real scientific observations about their environment, but we tried to make it fun for them. So we tried to encourage them to write poetry and draw drawings, and maybe even make music. Some of the kids collected flowers. At the one station we had that year, they had a bunch of binoculars, so the kids were looking for birds. And that year we had, Vicki, you want to talk about that, the news crew that came out?
ABC News has fallen in love with my dad, and so they love coming out to do stories about his restoration. And I think this is Toledo Action 13, Derek Witt, whose dad actually was one of the biologists on our restoration project. And Mark was one of the guys that went up into the tree to bring the baby eaglets down to put the radio transmitters on during the restoration, bald eagle restoration program. So Mark's been at our place. He's for, over 30 years. It was nice to have his son out there too. So.
Right. And so is it true with that in that visit, there was the first spotting of a blue spotted salamander?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so cool for the kids to experience something brand new like that from the land. So I will hand it over to Dr. C, because this is his venue.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I don't know, we didn't really do introductions, but so I'm a professor at the University of Toledo in the Department of Geography and Planning, and I've been around for about 25 years, 26 years, working with Janet. And as Vicki said, we got put together from a common colleague, and been working on having students come out to the farm. Sara is our UT project coordinator for this. So what I want to talk about, so here's my son, Timmy. He's older now, but when he was younger, so he was playing soccer, right? And when I coached soccer since he was 5, now he's 20, the kids always want to play the game. And sometimes when we're teaching science, teachers are teaching science, we don't have the kids actually do science. We have the kids learn about science. We have the kids take measurements, but not necessarily use those measurements in the science inquiry. So just like, sports, you learn it by doing it. Musical instruments, you learn to play music by playing it. You learn art by doing art. Well, of course, you have guidance from the teacher, right? You don't just start playing. Well, some people do play piano and are just naturally talented at it. But in soccer, same. But the teachers have that guidance to help the students along. So we'll go to the next slide. And a lot of things we're doing here are based on what do scientists do. So this is a conference this year I went to, I've gone for over 30 years to this conference. The American Geophysical Union is the largest geophysical geoscientist meeting in the world. This is where all the climate scientists go. And this is what the conference looks like. Everybody's walking around, everybody has a poster. You talk to people about their science and when they're in front of their poster. And so we've decided, well, a few years ago now, let's have students do this. And so we can go to the next slide. And it's slowly coming. There it is. Okay, so each year we have a conference for students at the University of Toledo or somewhere nearby. This year it's going to be at the Toledo Zoo. We're partnered with the Toledo Zoo and Bowling Green State University this year. And here's some examples of kids presenting. So on the left, we have kindergartners actually did a science project, and then they presented it. And the two students here are two of my graduate students. One is from Sri Lanka, the other one from Bangladesh. So we have this multicultural experience, having the students of different grade levels working together and presenting. So these kindergarten students, they were interested in what temperature soil do more worms live in? They're interested in worms. And so, the teacher helped them, and the teacher made the poster. On the left, you can kind of see there's sticky notes. The kids actually drew what they wanted to show on the sticky notes. And there was like a picture story. It was pretty cool because that's what they did. And then this one on the right, a student looked at cloud cover and how it affects surface temperature. Surface temperature is one of the things we do a lot because that's the protocol that I developed for Globe. So we can go to the next slide.
I'm trying. Hold on. It's freezing.
Oh, it's there. Okay. So here's another. Oh, they went 2 slides.
Okay, yep.
Oh,
3
there we
slides.
go. Okay.
One more back.
One more back. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
we
So
go.
anyway, there's one more example. The students were taking the temperature of the garden, and this is often, flower beds, something that the kids are interested in, right? So we want to engage the kids in something they're interested in. Their garden can be growing vegetables. The playground, a lot of times, a lot of schools and teachers utilize the playground for this. And again, here you're looking at surface temperature. The kids are doing this over in Toledo. And the next slide.
Real quick here, the Clouds and Trees project by Julie Huck's class, that was 3rd graders. And they made a video about collecting clouds and trees data that they submitted.
Yes, thanks, Sarah. So that's another one is, connecting trees to cooling your environment. And so we've studied urban heat island effect with people. The cities are warmer than the rural areas. And even something, a town as small as Oak Harbor has a urban heat island footprint. It's actually warmer in a little downtown area than around it, surrounding it. So one of the things we want to do is give students a lot of chances to present their work also. So it's kind of brings it full circle, right? So the students are being scientists, they're studying, doing real research and then presenting it. So Sarah, you have their search for past student research projects. Oh, so you have students do that. Okay, we're not going to do that today, I guess, because that would take too long maybe.
Yeah.
But then you can have your students upload their projects to our Globe Mission Earth website, and that's what's over on the right. And that, everybody can see that. The other projects are then visible to anybody. My undergraduate students do this as well. And so it's a great opportunity for students, and then they have something they can show people.
Teachers upload their projects too.
Well, that's true too. We do that in the summer. And then I think I was going to mention the IVSS, the International Virtual Science Symposium.
Yep.
Which was the last one on that list.
Right there.
So that's due March 10th each year. And I'm going to put in the chat a link. I know I sent it to Joe, I sent it to you, but any other teachers who are in high school, students can apply to this NASA internship. We actually help the students apply. We've had a number of students we've worked with attend this internship. The topics we support students in the internship, where we host students with urban heat island effect, air quality, projects, and this year we're going to do a solar eclipse project because the solar eclipse is happening April 8th.
Yeah.
And so we host about 20 to 30 students each year. But then University of Texas has other groups that host students. Some of the students get to go on site and go to Texas for a couple of weeks. Others are purely remote, but it's a great opportunity for students, a great resume builder for their college. So I encourage everybody to have any, I think it's like 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to apply.
Okay.
All right, so that's where I'm at, or I'm ending up.
Okay. Yep. And we had Janet talking about this one.
Right, but I want to add, if you need help, contact us. Because sometimes students do not know what's the appropriate answer for a question. And it's a highly competitive field. So we also will work with the students because we want them to get into the program, to get their foot in the door. So when you attend one of our professional developments, you're going to do science. The science that you're going to be doing in the classroom with your students. And then once you leave the PD, the summer PD, we provide support to you throughout the school year. And our support is showing you different activities, or in the past, teachers will say, I have this topic, can't find a lesson. We link to NASA, My NASA Data, which has a lot of learning activities. We can connect you to professionals. We can have someone come virtually to your school, or Kevin or someone local could come and talk to your students. This is a photo of Jessica Taylor talking to the teachers during the summer. And Jessica Taylor is from NASA Langley, one of our partners. And you see in the upper right, we're going to do the same protocols you're going to do with your students, and then help you implement what you've planned for the school year. Now, it could be just collecting surface temperature data in October. That's one of our intensive observation periods for GLOBE. They used to be called campaigns. But whatever you can do will help you do it. Next.
Okay.
So on Earth Heart Farms, we have started this adventure with Google and using Google products. And so we have a photo album, and we encourage teachers to submit to this album each time they take pictures of their class. So you'll see these materials in the top row are materials that we were handing out at the field days. And then we also showed students the in the mid section right here, that is the projects to have students look at, the teachers look at, and then we do other activities. The middle right is a drum circle. And then you can see Sara at the bottom collecting the water so we can analyze the water. And she collects it, and you can correct me, from the Portage River, water from the property. And did I miss one?
The Portage River, the Little Portage River, and then before I leave Toledo, I usually collect a bucket from Lake Erie. So we can.
So then when you're at the professional development, you're going to compare them. And then we also bring buckets of water for the students to do comparisons. So we have been Globe Mission Earth. This is going on our 9th year. And we have given students great experiences out in nature. The students, as you know, typically don't have opportunities. As you can tell, I'm an older individual like I did. We were always outside playing. The students happy to hold creatures that were found on the farm. They didn't know a lot of things about nature. This year, as you can see in the lower pictures, we brought art in, and we let the students share their art before they left Earth Heart Farms, so they could stand up in the circle and show the art that they drew, and then read their poems. And it was a great experience. And we have archived that. And there's just so many other examples that if you look in our photo album, you can see products of the students. So we are asking you to join us. And on our team is not just the four of us here. We have Sherry Graychick. She's the one with the budget. We have Femi, and we have Yutong that are usually working with you in the field on Earth Heart Farms. And if you need, we can do visits. And Sara and maybe one of the others, or Dr. C, will come out and help you at your school. So here's our contact information. Notice Vicki has a Gmail address, and she has posted her phone number. And again, look at us on the Globe Mission Earth page. It is actually on the Globe program itself.
Right.
And I think there's one more. And we want to thank our sponsors, because as you have seen in the pictures, we our collaborative effort done by many, the Green Creek Wildlife Society, and then C, and Friends of Ottawa, H2O Ohio, Black Swamp Bird Observatory, the Park District, Channel 30, WBGU, and then the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So we are here for you. Now, are there any questions?
There's no questions in the chat, but I just wanted to thank you first. I did not know the scope, the breadth of this program. So excellent to hear it. Like I was just telling you at the beginning how we also, like I run the Sylvania STEM Center with some of the parents. We used to run this robotics program in our basement. And then we opened up Sylvania STEM Center every year. As part of the middle school program that we have, they have to do a science experiments. I am going to share this information with them because I'm sure, every year there's a different theme, but it's always related to giving back to the community. And all of these programs, I think they will fit in here. So I would love to share your information, Dr. C, Sara, Janet, Vicki, so that Crystal, who's our executive director, she handles all of our programs. So she'll reach out to you to see if students can do a project at the middle of the year. Usually it's done in August or so. So they have to create an innovation. So I'll definitely connect you with them. And my daughter, 16-year-old, I'm going to push her. She is interested in research. She's doing some research at UT, I think with Dr. Scott Hall right now, but more from a biological standpoint. But I want her to, I'll definitely talk to C. I'll connect her with you or Sara there, because she's interested in Earth related things. So I'm really, really excited. I saw the slides initially when Vicki sent me, but just listening to you, the breadth of the program you have is just so amazing. So thank you for sharing this with us. Yeah.
So to add, the students collect the data, and we'll use urban heat island. So they find the hot spots in their school area. And one of the projects were, we should plant more trees in our school yard to mitigate the heat, the urban heat island. So a lot of people take it one step beyond the research to do some kind of community outreach.
That's great. Yeah. I want to see if anybody had any questions. They can either type or come off mute and then ask directly as well.
Well, the question I put in the chat was, why come to Earth Heart Farms? Why not just do the data collection in your schoolyard? And I'm hoping that Kevin and Janet and Sarah can all weigh in on that, because
Yeah.
why should kids get on a bus and come to a really cool
Yeah.
place because I invited them?
Well, I'll go from the other
Yeah.
direction is we do want the kids to take observations at their own school, right?
Mhm.
But of course, coming to Earth Heart Farms is a new experience, very different for most students. And to experience the environment and conservation and how things are changing there, I think the kids just really are very engaged. You know, one boy found an arrowhead this
Hmm.
spring or fall. Sorry, this is fall. There's also deer fur on the ground and stuff, and yeah, all kinds of things that you don't get to see every day.
Yeah, I mean, nothing like a field trip, like think kids really enjoy the field trip. I'm pretty sure, like I, as a kid, would always have loved to go outside of my school to do some activity. So field trip is always exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have students from Toledo Public Schools, and their neighborhoods are not, some of their neighborhoods are not safe. So their parents aren't going to let them go outside.
Yeah.
And with working parents today, they might not have time to take them out to one of our great parks in Toledo. So this, having a field trip gives these students exposure to nature.
And how many kids are allowed, like, in the sense, at these sessions? Do you plan, like if we have, we usually would have like teams. So can a small group of like 4 or 5 kids attend a program, or do you have a specific program where you have to pre-register and then work with everyone?
No, there have been schools that have brought 80 to 90 middle school students.
Okay.
This spring, our middle schools cannot come because of testing. So we're going to try something different with smaller groups, maybe some, high school teachers who have 10 students in an environmental science class or something. And then want to come out, and they've been there before, so they're welcome. We're going to have a group of Girl Scouts come out on a Saturday this year too, about 15 to 20 Girl Scouts, because we are encouraging after school programs. And my invitation, being a private land, we aren't a 501c3. We are private land. People live on that land. So we do by invitation, but if you have a research project or a conservation project, you just want to go birding, you're going to canoe down the little portage, and you want to get off onto our land and see what's going on, we welcome that with by invitation. That's how we're set up on eBird as a hotspot, as well as a for-profit group. We are by invitation only, but they were very, I'm thrilled that eBird allowed us to become a hotspot.
That's great.
Because that way we can keep all of our bird sightings in one place for people who want to do that. Green Creek Wildlife Society has been coming out every month for 15 to 18 months doing a monthly bird count. And so we're just getting to the point where we can start to do some comparison, I think, to see what's consistent. And we've seen new species with the wetlands too. We had tundra swans, and we've got pileated woodpeckers that live out there now.
Wow.
I think they were there before the revitalization, but because we have areas that are, becoming a ghost forest. And so that's a really tremendous asset too, because you attract different species. We also like that the idea of, especially in the fall, when the grassland is at its zenith of beauty, where students are still maybe not quite into school because summer break was just over. The weather is a lot more predictable in October. We love having them come out at that time. And they can learn all of the globe protocols and all of the conservation data collection techniques as well, because if we have 90 students on site, we try to break them into groups of about 10. So we will have 7 to 10 conservation volunteers from, Fish and Wildlife, from Soil and Water, from VSBO, and it's just amazing to me that how the community comes together to support this effort, especially as a pilot program. But we want students to learn the protocols in a really special place. So I sometimes think that has an impact as well, that if they're just doing it as part of school, oh, it's just another school assignment. The other thing we can look at is they're taking real data to show how our effort at restoration is working. And I kind of feel like the sky is the limit of what we can do there. We want to encourage stewardship projects. We've had bird boxes donated this year by Ohio Bluebird Society. And we'd like to start an Adopt a Box program, a monitoring program. But just, small groups, 3 or 4 Girl Scouts, whatever, that want to come out and maybe do some stewardship, monitoring a bluebird trail or a purple martin rig, or just, I don't know. There again, I think like the sky's the limit.
And even for adults, like I'm interested in birds, and I see a couple of my friends who are on the webinar right now. So we can request to go birding maybe once, at least add this to our checklist, right? For once at least, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Well, we'll do that. I know.
You just have to ask me.
Yes, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that'll be great. And are you participating in the biggest week? I know you had tours go from BSBO.
Yes,
So
we
is
are.
that, oh, good.
We're back
good.
on this year. So we're very excited, but yeah, we're back on.
Yep, perfect. Yeah.
So, and I wanted to see if anyone is on the webinar who's been to our place outside of us and who would like to share their experience of being out there.
Yeah, I think Basia is on. Maybe she has.
Maybe we can put Basha on the spot.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do. Yeah. Ask her. Yeah. Basia, you're up to it.
Somebody who helped with the BioBlitz. Fantastic. Thank you, Jackie.
Oh, Jackie also did his Bible. It's very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Basia is on mute, maybe she doesn't want to add.
I would love to come again. I didn't know it was open to, the public as long as we asked. I would love to come out and monitor for butterflies. Actually, that's kind of my specialty.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
because Todd Iben last year discovered the swarthy skippers on your property.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no swarthy skippers in Northwest Ohio. I don't know if you realize that. That was a huge oddity. And the minute I heard Todd found those things, well, I had COVID, so I missed the main BioBlitz, but I made it up on the second go around, like a week later. But
When they
there
did
were
the
swarthies.
pond. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just loved your farm.
Oh, thank you.
I'm thrilled to death that you said that if you ask, you can come back out. So,
Yeah, and part of the
Yeah.
reason we want you to ask is that because it is the residences there, and
Exactly.
3 residences are there, and we wouldn't want you necessarily to come out if there's 100 students
Yeah,
on land,
right.
or there's a controlled burn happening. Although that was really cool.
Oh, I bet.
And
Yeah.
we have hunters too. So
Hmm.
our hunters, during
No,
hunting season
yeah,
tend to
no,
come
I
out
don't
at
do
like
hunt-
4 p.m, and we just don't want people out there when they're hunting. I mean, they're
Well-
good guys, but
Yeah.
we give them that space.
Space, yeah.
So
The Illinois Monitoring Butterfly Program, they monitor once a quarter. And they go into each different habitat, record the butterflies there at that time. And whereas the Ohio monitoring program does it weekly. But if I could come out there quarterly, then I could see this spring butterflies as well as the summer butterflies, and then again the fall butterflies, or maybe come out 4 times during the butterfly season. That's what I was thinking, because the BioBlitz only occurred during a specific short time frame. But to get the full picture, you need the spring, early summer, middle summer, and then fall. So that's kind of what I was hoping I could ask for, I guess.
Well, you have my my contact information, and I'll put it in the chat. And then if you want to reach out to me, I'm back and forth between Illinois and Ohio, but
okay.
But my dad is there too full time.
I would love to.
And Jackie, I'll join you, you know, once we go. I want to go see the farm. Yeah.
And Basha said she can weigh. Basha said she can weigh in now.
Yeah, go ahead, Vasya.
Hello. I think the other thing that I wanted to add on to that was having the students come out to the farm and divide up into groups with like somebody from Globe, somebody from conservation. It helped the group kind of divide into subgroups, and then the students could spend time with the person that they wanted to learn from, or like whatever they were most interested in. That's what a smaller group could focus on. So there were times when the group split up into like 3 smaller groups, and somebody was working on hydrosphere stuff, and somebody else was looking at a plant, and some other person had found a cool bug. So it was really nice to have those smaller groups that could break up into subgroups.
It's great, Vasya. Yeah. And I know how good you are with the kids, you know, to make the presentations here at the refuge. So exciting for kids and adults. So great to hear this. Yeah. But I'll join with Jackie. You know, I mean, like, I'm not into butterflies yet. I've been gone with Jackie a couple of times looking for butterflies, but I really enjoy, you know, maybe going with Jackie would help me learn a little bit more. Yeah.
We did have a monarch tagging day this fall, but it was a complete bust. It was a little late in the season, but it was a gorgeous foggy morning, and the photographs I took out there, oh God, they were just stunning with dew dripping off of so much dew that the grass heads were almost weighed down to the ground with dew. It was just a gorgeous day. So, yeah. Any other questions or comments or concerns?
I can't help but wondering if Joe, are you able to talk at all? I know you haven't brought students to the property, but you've done a lot of work in Globe with your kids. So I wonder if you can say a quick word about like the impact of Globe and having your students do Globe stuff.
So this is kind of weird. I have a stride class. I have one of the kids who is in Model UN, and he did some stuff for me the last couple of years, but it really didn't sink in the potential impacts. And now he wants to do astronomy or astrophysics, and he's seeing this as finally the opportunity. So he has really been gung-ho this year to try and get more experience in that field. And then I've had a couple other kids that went last year who are not college bound. One was going to be an electrician, and one was going to be a truck driver. And like that was their only outside experience for like a college program. Whereas I don't think it changed their mind. It was that one and only experience that I think they're going to ever get.
Well, that's excellent. See, I hated biology when I was growing up. I did physics, but now I'm more interested in biology, ecology, you know, versus being in physics. So I think it changes, right? You know, as an adult, they will find some interest. What you did for them may spark another hobby that they may have for the rest of their lives. Yeah.
There's a lot of physics in Urban Heat Island.
That's true, yeah.
Physics minor.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So that's what the kid's looking at. And he roped somebody in to help him write his poster. We got started on research question introduction, and hopefully Dr. C will come out and see me tomorrow. But we'll see what the weather does.
That's the plan. Yep.
And those posters were amazing, Dr. C. We have they look like a real research presentation, my son did some, and I see others when we go. I've judged one time at this BSF or ISEF competition. Those posters look, didn't look like a middle schooler made those posters. Excellent job there, sir.
Well, anyway, that's our big deal, right? That's
Yeah.
what we try to do.
Poster presentation, yeah.
Yeah. Because the
True
students,
science.
they own their project, right? That's the big deal, is they take ownership of it and are very proud of what they've done.
Yeah.
The
Well, thank you for.
teachers learn how to do those type of projects. So then they've got that experience to pass it on to their students. So for the younger grades, we have sentence starters in each of the little boxes to get them their ideas flowing. And then for the high school, they might start with it, but then turn that into a more descriptive, that's their beginning point. So we do have aids to help get that poster done.
Wow. We're almost at time. I cannot thank you enough. The words are not enough to express Vicki, Jeanette, Dr. C, Sara, what you do. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the farm this year, with Jackie or maybe separately also. But we really appreciate it. Friends group really appreciate what you do for us, the support that you give us, and this session. Maybe down this year later, Vicki, your team is always like, if you have something that has changed, we would love to have you back again here for another presentation later in the year as well.
Okay.
Okay.
I think we can do that.
All right. If no other questions, we can close, but just wanted to give, we still have a minute or so. If anybody has any questions before we close. Vicki, anything from your side? Anything we could do for you?
I think we're good.
Yeah,
I mean,
all
we're
right.
just looking to have a space for people who want to just be in nature, and however they want to be there, whether it's through art or science or stewardship or all of the above, through spirituality. We're looking at adding a tribal history unit down the road. I mean, I'm looking at that very seriously, and because I think it's important. So I'm working with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources to see what we can do there.
Thank you so much.
Just
thank
want
you for
people to come out who care about the land, who care like I do about trying to help save the world. My grandson, who's almost 9, is so happy when I told him that I was doing this to help save the world for him and all of his friends and the children beyond. He said, "Oh, Grandma, you're so sweet."
No, it's so true. I mean, your grandparents had that foresight and this,
Yeah.
And you've been continuing it. So this is just amazing work. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stay warm. Thank you again from the Friends group. Really appreciate it. Good evening, everyone, for joining. And Sara Vicki will send out the recording. When we send the recording out, Amy sends it out tomorrow. She'll attach the PDF as well.
Okay, great.
All
Sounds
right.
good. Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
you.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.